Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is also from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user Throwaway23. Am I the a-hole for telling my friend to stop using my life to get petty clout and to live her fantasy somewhere else? Hi y'all, first time posting, so sorry for any mistakes. I, 17 female, have 8 older brothers. Without getting into too much detail, there are a few adoptions and have siblings in the mix, but I'm close to all of them. And while my life can be crazy sometimes, I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's also relevant that I don't have either of my parents in my life and haven't since I was 11. The issue involves my close friend, 17 female, who I've known since we were 4. For about a year now, she's been consistently posting on social media about her best friend's super hot older brothers. And the terrible tale of how she ended up in a love triangle with her best friend's brothers. And it's seriously annoying. She's never really had anything to do with my brothers. They know her as my little sister's friend and nothing more. So I really don't get where this is all coming from. Over the last few weeks, however, it's gotten so much worse. She'll actively tell stories to people at our school about the steamy romance that is her life, and it's bringing me a lot of unwanted attention. I've tried to talk to her about it, but she always said that she'd never do anything to hurt me and that she's just living her life, which doesn't even make sense. I've mentioned it so many times that I've started to avoid hanging out with her because I know my brothers will come into it and I'll have to ask her to knock it off again. Everything came to a head yesterday. We went out with some friends and 4 of my brothers dropped us both off. When we got inside, half of the girls in the group immediately started talking to my best friend about the good-looking guys in the car and whether those were the hot men she was talking about. I snapped and yelled, "Those are my brothers and I swear, friend's name, if you don't stop using my life to get petty clout, I'm cutting you off. Quit living your fantasy through me. Do it somewhere else." And left, which I feel like was really harsh and probably could have waited until we were in private. She called me later to tell me she wanted space from our friendship because I had become jealous, needy, and controlling ever since she got close with my brothers, which isn't even remotely true. All of my brothers so far have told me to just stop being friends with her, but she's been really important in my life for a long time, and I don't want to ruin what we have. At the same time, I don't want to keep letting her use my life for her fantasy. Am I the a-hole? No, OP, you are absolutely not the a-hole for calling her out like that, and you should continue to do so. Your brothers are absolutely right. This is no longer your friend. She may have been important for you in the past, but sometimes people grow apart because they change. The attention-seeking person she's becoming and using your life to get that attention is not one that you want. And now that you've called her out, she's pushing you away, probably to victimize herself. Don't let her do that. If I was in your shoes, I would call her out every chance I get and tell her that whatever she's peddling is absolutely false. That she has no relationship with any of your brothers at all. And what is your judgment? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's go check out the community comments to see what they said. Bizianka says, cut her off and publicly call her out for lying. This is not some harmless fantasy. She is walking around publicly claiming that one or few of your brothers who are adults are interested in underage girl. She might not think about how it can damage their reputation, but for other adults it would be a worrying sign. Not the a-hole. Emotional Koala says, not the a-hole. Duckling, this girl is not your friend. Listen to your brothers. They sound like they've got your back and can see the situation with better perspective. Real friends listen when you ask them not to make you uncomfortable. Real friends generally don't drool openly about your direct family members. And real friends definitely don't sulk and name call when they get called out on their nonsense. And Comfortable C2454 says, not the a-hole, but it sounds like your friend is completely invested in your brothers being main players in her life fantasy. Pretty sure the only thing you can do to shut her voice out is to completely cut her off. It won't stop her, but you will no longer have to hear about it. Other than the only thing that might stop it would be for a brother to drop you off and shut her down directly before driving away. Additional information from OP's comments. She's always been flirty with them, which they never reciprocated. And just in case, I asked all my brothers, but they're all over 20 and most have partners or have been in a relationship for a while. So suffice to say, they were pretty grossed out and denied anything ever happened. Eventually, they stopped being around when I had her over because of the comments. She isn't close with them at all, and I've asked her to stop a few times, but she never does. The one time I asked her why she was doing this, she told me to stop being controlling, so I don't really know where this came from. I've been friends with her for over 10 years, so it's not easy to let that go. She's the only friend I have. I have friendly acquaintances, but no other friends. She only started acting like this about a year ago, and I thought it was normal, I guess. So I didn't really do anything because it didn't hurt anybody, or at least I thought it didn't. I don't know the full deal with my parents. Even when they were around, they weren't really active in my life. But when I was 11, they lost a custody battle for me over drug use, I think. I'm not really sure. It isn't something I like knowing, so I've only ever asked to be told the basics. I know 8 older brothers is a lot, but I wouldn't say they're hot, so to speak. I think people are more attracted to the movie romance idea. Alright, well, the majority of the community is saying that OP is not the a-hole, and they're saying that this isn't a friend and that OP should call her out in public so this thing stops. I absolutely agree with this, but OP has the problem that she thinks this is her only friend. And again, OP, this isn't a friend of yours. I don't know, maybe one of those acquaintances could be turned into a really good friend if you get to know them a little better. But in any case, we've got 2 updates to this story, so let's move on with the first one to see what happens next, and then we'll finish off the story with the final update. Hi everyone, I have a small update for those who'd like to hear it. I'd also like to thank all the people who gave advice and opinions. So the first thing I did was have a proper talk with my brothers about everything that's been going on. I showed them the post and all the comments I received, and they took a minute to read them before speaking. One of my brothers, Sam, assured me they had never been flirty, romantically interested, or sexual with my friend at any point in time. There was never a time when any of them were alone with her for more than a minute. I'm not gonna lie, that made everything so much easier. I was terrified one of them was going to admit to having done something with her. We also talked about her recent behavior. I told him about what she'd been saying, and then Sam spoke up. He said that in the past they had heard my friend intentionally telling people strange things about me in order to make it seem like I wasn't a person who you'd want to be friends with. They'd overheard these conversations at my house when I wasn't around or doing something and she was waiting for me. Things like, she's too clingy, or she's controlling, to even telling people I'd slept with one of my brothers. It hurt a lot. So you guys were right, she has been isolating me from people. After our talk, I needed to get some air, so I went for a walk. My friend ended up calling me, and I answered. I know, stupid. But I was hurt and wanted to know if she really had done those things. The conversation went like this. Listen, OP, we've been friends for a long time and I don't want to hurt you, but this friendship has become really toxic. Are you serious? I know what you've been saying about me. You're a liar and a creep, and the only toxic thing in this friendship is you. I've literally never lied to you in my life, so I don't know what you think I've said or done, but you're wrong. It's not my fault people don't want to be your friend because you're weirdly possessive. You literally told people you were dating my brothers. That's gross and really messed up. This is what I mean. You aren't acting like yourself anymore. I feel like ever since we got older, you've started to become obsessed with attention. I don't like this version of you. It isn't my best friend. I hung up after that and now I feel like crap. She was my best friend. I have no idea what to do next because she hasn't stopped blowing up my phone since the call. I want to block her, but I just can't do it. I feel like an absolute failure. So yeah, that's where I am right now. I don't have a clue what I'm going to do next. I want to tell her parents, but what would I even say? Your daughter's fetishizing my brothers? I have literally no evidence whatsoever and I don't know what she's told them about me. Who knows? Any advice would be appreciated since my brain isn't working right now and all I've been doing is crying. Alright, so OP had a conversation and that person just seems really toxic. She's now gaslighting OP regarding the things that she says and not. Now, I don't usually do this, but OP is asking for a little bit more help. My opinion is still the same. There's nothing to fix here, just cut the toxic out of your life. But let's check out a couple of community comments to see what kind of advice OP got from them. Lurker Burker says, since there has been people who have seen your brothers and they seem to want to help and look out for you, I would suggest maybe having your brothers make a post altogether. This is a petty idea, take it with a grain of salt. Something like, hey, we're the hot older brothers that lying creep and others like to objectify. You, OP, is our little sister and we've never interacted with lying creep. She's been lying since day one and we don't know why. We've never dated her, we don't like her, and we hate bullies of our sister. She's even lied accusing us of incest while lying she's dated us. Maybe that would clear the air? Please discuss it with your brothers if you want to consider this. No Bottle 8922 says, look, you need to be told this and it's gonna be brutal. Just block her already. What does she have to do to make you realize she's not your friend? You're 17. You're old enough to understand gaslighting, manipulation, and being cunning. Your friend is this, and the only reason she got away with it for so long is because she knows you are easily manipulated and molded. Snap out of it. Cut her out of your life. Block her so she can't contact you again, because I bet that last call you got, she either recorded it to prove you are creepy and clingy, or she had some of her other friends around to listen and then mock you after. There are better people out there to be friends with. You deserve better. So cut the BS about her being your friend since blah blah blah. It doesn't matter to her. She doesn't care, so stop wasting your emotions on her. So even though those are just two of the comments, OP got a lot more and thorough comments about what she should do, but they were all along the same lines. So now let's finish this story with the final update to see if OP finally understood that this is not her friend. So hi, me again. I don't actually know if anyone's still interested in what's happening, but I thought I'd update just for those who followed me. Long story short, I took your advice. I called my ex-friend and told her the following. I don't want you in my life anymore. And that was it. I know some people told me to set her reputation on fire because why not? But I feel like that would do more harm than good. And if she ever does grow up, I'm sure she doesn't want this whole drama fest to be tied to her forever. The first few days after that phone call were hectic. I couldn't stop crying, which made me feel pathetic, and I just felt lost overall. I haven't really made friends at school. Most people think of me as a weirdo who dropped her best friend of 10 years because she was jealous of her own brothers. So I guess lunch in the bathrooms from now on. I also got calls from my ex-friend's sister, who called me some names and ranted about my brother's loved ex-friend so much that I was such a cow for separating them, so I guess she's sticking to her story. So yeah, that's kind of it. I'm just spending time with myself in my bed. Well, OP, I'm really sorry that you've had to be put through this. It's not a happy update, of course, but I do believe it's a positive one. You've cut that toxic friend out of your life. And even though right now the world seems cold and very small, it will get bigger and it will get better so long as you don't shut yourself out. So hopefully this bad friend was just a small bump in a series of nice things that are gonna happen to you. Here's wishing you the best in the future, OP. Thank you so much for sharing and take care. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user MoThrowaway1. Am I the a-hole for refusing to attend my best friend's wedding? I, 28 female, am entangled in a wedding drama of epic proportions. My recently engaged best friend, 29 female, asked me to be her maid of honor, and words can't even describe how happy I was. We've been inseparable since kindergarten, and I was ready to make her big day unforgettable. I spent nearly $700 on her bachelorette party, buying cute outfits for everyone and renting a party bus with all-you-can-drink drinks. The other girls pitched in, but I'm the most financially stable, so the majority fell on me. I helped plan the wedding of her dreams, right down to contacting the vendors and setting dates when she was too busy. I made the save the date and invitation cards. What I'm trying to say is that I did a lot for her, and then 2 weeks before the wedding, my best friend asked me to step down and said that her future sister-in-law would be taking the role of maid of honor. I was pissed and we got into a huge argument over this where I, admittedly, said things I wasn't proud of. Since then, I've received texts from our friends, best friends' families, the groom's family, and even my sister-in-law telling me that I'm a drama queen who needs to get over herself and that this isn't about me. This has really gotten to me and I need to know if I was in the wrong. Well, OP, your sister-in-law is half right, I would say. Sure, your friend's wedding isn't about you, but after everything you've done to just get tossed to the side like this, that is about you. Now, just like this, I would say, no, you're not the a-hole. I mean, of course, you don't play any big part in the bridal party anymore, so if you don't go to the wedding, why would your friend be upset, considering that you've been pushed aside like this? But I guess my big question is, how come now, 2 weeks before the wedding, you've been pushed aside? What happened? Did the sister-in-law strong-arm your friend or something? Or was this your friend's plan the whole time? Like, because if it was the plan the whole time, then your friend is a huge a-hole, and yeah, double down on not going to her wedding. Also, if she downgraded you to just a guest, why is everybody making such a big deal out of this? Or is your friend the one making the big deal out of this thing? So yeah, OP, again, no, you're not the a-hole. If you're not playing a major role in the bridal party that they don't need you, then you don't actually have to be there for anything. And if you're pissed, then don't go. And what is your judgment? Let me know in the comment section. And now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Shot Tension 2810 says, quote, "Am I the a-hole for not attending the wedding?" End quote. Not the a-hole. She changed her mind about you being her maid of honor after you've done so much for her and spent so much money. So you get to change your mind about attending the wedding. Simple as that. Info: did she give you a reason for why she asked you to step down? And OP responds, "Sister-in-law is an introvert and might never get to be a maid of honor. I have a large friend group and might be a maid of honor at one of their weddings." That is such a BS excuse. Imposter Syndrome 412 says, "Not the a-hole, but I'd bill her for everything I paid for. She essentially used you to fulfill the duties and when it was all done, gave the position to someone else. Send her an invoice." And OP responds, "When we were in college, she paid $500 for my rent. So I asked for the $200 I spent extra on the bachelorette party, but she called me money hungry, and that's when the argument started." And Grape Gatsby 23 says, "Not the a-hole. She'd used you. This was the plan all along. If you paid deposits, get your money back and skip the wedding." And OP responds, "I didn't pay for vendors or anything like that, so no deposits. I don't know if this was the plan all along or if she was pressured into it like some people have mentioned." OP's edit: "Thank you to everyone who's been commenting and giving me advice. I'm going to wait a week to let my emotions cool down and then try to sit down with my friend to talk about this. I'm going to make a huge batch of cookies and watch some TV to relax." This is a small update to answer some questions. I asked for 200 of the money back because 500 is a repayment from when she paid my rent in college for a month. I hadn't paid her back sooner because she requested that I use it for her bachelorette. She'd been dating her fiance for 8 years and was waiting to be more financially stable before getting married. On to the update. I called her this morning and asked to talk, and she agreed. We set up a meeting on Thursday at a local coffee shop. I'm a bit concerned because she sounded really shy and nervous on the phone. Hopefully that goes well and I can do an official update with the happy news. Thank you so much for your advice and comments. So the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole and they had some advice that OP considered. But now we have the update, so let's finish this story with that. I met my friend at around 9 AM yesterday at a local coffee shop. She looked really bad. Her hair was super greasy and unkempt, she had really bad eye bags, and she seemed totally exhausted. When I asked her what was wrong, she apologized. I kept prodding and it turns out that her in-laws are real pieces of work. Apparently, they've been harassing her for nearly 3 years about having sister-in-law as the maid of honor at the wedding, and when my friend chose me, they went ballistic. My friend said she thought she'd be able to handle it until the wedding day, but then mother-in-law threatened to ruin her wedding unless sister-in-law was the maid of honor. My friend panicked, and that's when she told me I would no longer be maid of honor. She apologized for the money-hungry comment and said that she was just in such an awful place mentally that hearing me mention the money made her really upset. All our friends attacked me because they knew about the mother-in-law situation. My friend never mentioned it to me because she didn't want me to step down because of mother-in-law, and they thought I also knew the whole story. As for the fiancé, he was completely in the dark. He doesn't have a good relationship with his mother already, and my friend didn't want to be what destroyed that relationship. When she told me all of this, I felt awful. I didn't know she was enduring 3 years of harassment because of me. I immediately apologized and she apologized, and we both cried a lot. When the tears stopped, she pulled out an envelope with $200 and gave it to me. I originally refused, but she insisted, so I took it. I encouraged her to tell her fiancé because keeping this from him wasn't helping anyone, and if he decided to cut off mother-in-law, then that was his decision, not hers. After talking a lot more about future boundaries, our friendship, and the wedding, I decided I would go to the wedding and would still be friends. I know my friend didn't handle this in the best way, but I've known her for over 2 decades and she's practically my platonic soulmate. That's not something you should throw away because of this. Originally, that was how my update ended, but as I was typing this, I received a text from my friend saying that the fiancé disinvited his mom and practically half the family, including sister-in-law, because of their treatment of my friend and me. She asked me if I'd be willing to be the maid of honor again, and I said yes. I just want to give a final thank you to Reddit for helping me through this, and I hope all of you have a nice night. Wow, I really wasn't expecting that to be happening to your friend, but thankfully at the very end you got us the final update. So here's wishing you the best in the future and hopefully that wedding goes fantastic. Take care, OP, and thank you for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.